So here's a topic maybe some people are curious about my perspective on. Are video essays, are video game reviews, I guess in a very broad sense, like, is criticism art? Is that an art in itself? And I would argue yes, in the most classical sense, of course it's art. I've gotten the comment before of like, oh my gosh, all the interest in your videos is owed to something else. It's nothing original of yours. And it's something I've actually thought about quite a bit because, obviously that's a doubt that'll come into your head when you do something like what I do, which is focus on one series, or even, people who maybe review video games, maybe they do let's plays, maybe they write film reviews for a newspaper. That question of, is this creative in my own respect, or is this just stealing from somebody else and writing it off as my own original creativity? Which I would say no, it's not, because the way you formulate your arguments, the way you come up with how you convey your message, that is the artistic element, and you are taking advantage of some sort of medium in delivering that point to an audience who you're hoping will listen, whether it's a written film review where you're literally typing it out, whether it's a video essay where you're writing it, then you're recording it, then you're editing it, then you're putting it on YouTube or wherever you host your videos. Of course that's art, because art in itself, if you just look at the definition of it, it's just essentially any form of human expression, which, some people might argue is way too vague of a definition, because that can be broad to a point of, well, me just turning my head is art then in that case. To which, funny enough, there is an argument to be made that is true, that turning your head is art. I'm getting to sort of an absurdist degree here, but I feel like you guys get what I'm saying probably. The way I see it in regards to me utilizing the Mother series as a jumping off point for my artistic process is this. Is the movie Goodfellas no less Martin Scorsese's own art just because the script is based on a book? Is Romeo and Juliet not William Shakespeare's own play because it's based on a lot of archetypal storytelling elements that were prevalent at the time? Is Earthbound not art because it samples a lot of existing music? The list goes on, and I think my point is being made clear here. Even things like mockbusters, which shamelessly rip off whatever's popular in films at the time, those are art in their own sense. It's just that when they're so void of purpose being like a reason for existing, whether that's to deliver some profound message the work has to say, or even just invoke a feeling in somebody, those works are so purposeless that's why we are able to poke holes in them. But when you have something truly purposeful to say, then obviously that distinguishes it from something like that, which is truly a ripoff, inherently. Criticism, at the end of the day, is a form of self-expression, and we all do it whether we like it or not. I think this just kind of gets projected onto people who, end up making a living off of it or become notable from doing it, because everyone expresses themselves through their thoughts on whatever art they've consumed. And even separate, going off from just like limiting it to art that's been experienced, anything that's happened to someone, their past experiences, a current event, whatever it may be, anything you're commenting on is criticism, and the art comes from how you formulate what you have to say about it. In which case, this opens the door to, yes, there is in fact good and bad criticism in an artistic sense. If the way someone is delivering what they have to say about art or whatever it is they're critiquing isn't interesting, isn't clever, isn't meaningful, then that'll distinguish what's good art from bad art in the sense of critique. But at the end here, my point isn't that there's good and bad art, it's that is art in itself. Star Wars isn't any less George Lucas's movie because it was heavily influenced visually by Flash Gordon. How he used those elements to tell a story of his own that was meaningful to him, that's how it became his own expression. And that's how, in a sense, it's a critique to some extent of those original serials, those Flash Gordon serials, in a sense. Because he's saying with it how it affected him. We talked about this recently. Art is a conversation, and when it's a conversation, it's responding to something always. So suggesting criticism isn't a form of art, and one that can be honed and made into something incredible or something incredibly bad, it's just completely nonsensical to me to suggest that. I got a bit fired up on this one. By the way, I'm sorry if I sound different. I'm recording in a different spot than I have been for these recently. Okay, I got a bit fired up about that. I felt stronger about that than I even realized. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you soon.